All right, test. Let me check the audio. How you guys doing? We got a lot to talk about. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys weren't destroyed today. Today was pretty crazy. Nexus? Man, Nexus normally shows up later in the stream. We got him in the beginning. If you guys don't know, we are live on YouTube as well as Twitter or X, whatever you call it. But we typically have a little more chat in the YouTube because it's better set up for it. But anyway, welcome to the weekly Whale Watch. This is your dude Runner. And we're going to go over stocks today, Rainbow Theory, whales, crypto, White House news, China news, war news, the evolution of drones, you name it, Rainbow Theory, quantitative research. And we're going to cover it all. And if you, at any point you have any questions about what's going on or why the hell my stuff looks like a painting instead of like a black and white chart, check us out at Rainbow Trends. Yeah, there's a normal chart and there's a Rainbow Trends chart. Yeah, go check it out there. We have all the tutorials. I'm not going to dwell on it. But anyway, let's get going. Give me 1 second because the wifey just called me at a very, very crazy time because we're starting. I'm sorry. Hold on. They're at the pool right now. So anyway, we've had accidents at the pool with the kiddos, so I gotta check in. My apologies. As per usual, this stream is not intended to be used as financial advice. It's a coding show with art, and even if you were to mistake this for financial advice, like I said, it's a coding stream. So, what's up, Caleb? What's up, Waju? It's been a minute. Holy crap, there's a lot of people calling in right now. I see calling in, watching right now. Welcome to have you guys. Yeah, check us out. There's a big debate I've had for years with quite a few people that fundamental analysis and technical analysis are two separate things. You shouldn't mix the two. And I will die on this hill and say it's two different. They are not one and the same. They affect each other. Bitcoin was banned in like 2021, was it? In China. Bitcoin hash rates and Bitcoin price heavily reacted. If you haven't noticed over the past 2 months, we've been covering this like crazy. The stock market highly cares about what Trump says, especially regarding tariffs. And today the market exploded, and it has nothing to do with tariffs. And we got to dive into this because there's backstories, there's forward stories, we got all types of stuff. But before we really get started, if you guys can, please click like, subscribe, retweet, whatever platform you're on. Give the algos some love and wake them the F up and know that we're going to have a good time. So, let me do the backstory because, man, first thing this morning, I was looking at my notes. So if you guys don't know, like, I queue up like 12 gigabytes of RAM worth of notes and data all up on my Chrome tabs throughout the week. And I put them together and we do the stream once a week, every Thursday, right? Great time. I was looking at my notes this morning. I'm like, man, it's pretty thin. It's been a pretty slow week. We're gonna have to go heavily into the charts and not look at news and charts. Boy, was I wrong by about lunchtime today. So a lot of things came to a head, and this has been for a while, and I gotta get into this. Before all hell break loose, this would have been something I would have heavily focused on. I'm gonna bring it up because most people forgot about it already, even though it's only been 11 hours ago. Apparently, Trump called out President Xi, and they're starting to discuss trade deals again, and I guess maybe work closer to a deal. The telling thing here is Trump requested the phone call, and then at the end of the phone call, Trump had a very different take than what the Chinese media reported. Basically, China came back and said, like, they're demanding the tariffs be repealed, so they're not aligned yet on at least how they're broadcasting it. At least when Xi gets close to where he wants to be, right? They're going to start talking in unison, at least the Chinese media and the American media. So shout out CCP. I hope we get this figured out because I don't like this crap either. I don't know. I always try to do devil's advocate. What's a positive thing I can say about tariffs? It keeps volatility alive in the stock charts. I'm not a big fan of it. So anyway, let's move on. So I don't directly have a Chinese ticker. But there is one thing, if you haven't been noticing, China has been dumping bonds. in regards to a lot of this tariff stuff, and they've been buying gold. So I haven't looked at the gold chart in a bit. Let's transition into our first rainbow theory chart. Gold 3-day. Gold is super not volatile. So if you look at like rainbow trends like default, you're not going to get many colors. In general, you need to go to your indicator and crank these bad boys down so that these colors can actually show on something that's not very volatile. And you have to remember, gold's like on a hell of a run right now. So to crank these down or go to a higher time frame, you see all those numbers like pop back up. Now we got like a bunch of colors. You want to see the colors, right? Now, if the chart is just flat out going sideways, sure, you don't need to mess with the colors. Don't force it, right? But I'm sorry, that's runner bot. Let's go to main indicator. But I'm going to reset this real quick, put all these back to 0, and we're going to look at 3-day because I like to look at like gold and silver at 3-day. Let's be honest, I don't like looking at gold, but I do watch it because that's a ton of liquidity. So, and I just turned off whale prints there, right? So, it's been running, it's been going crazy, and like this whole thing, the theory is China's pissed at United States. They're buying a ton of gold, and number go up. Peter Schiff's a brilliant mastermind. I'm sorry I said it live. That's just the reality of it. This is going to be something I'm going to watch because if China's deal ends up coming to a conclusion where at least they're kind of happy with each other, I want to see what this does, and see if it starts dumping and seeing if they start risking back into the American markets. Because right now, not just China, a lot of the worldwide population countries, they're risking off of the United States because they can't look forward. They cannot predict the future due to volatility. Lo and behold, that's probably going to be what half the stream is after this slide. We're talking about volatility. A lot of this stuff's not predictable. And there's, God, I hate this, but how do I want to explain this and not come off in a negative way, because good vibes matter, and that's what Rainbow Trends is about. It's the OGs and being good vibes and trusting your crew and all this other stuff. There's a lot of tools out there that work. There's a lot of them that don't. There's stuff that can back test really well. There's stuff that can't forward test. Rainbow theory stuff works really, really well because we don't really look at the back. Well, we do back test like crazy, but we don't look for backwards projections going into forward projections. We look in the now, and if we look at what's possible, we really can get alpha, right, and accuracy. If you're trying to predict the future of what the price is going to be in October of 2028, bets are off for Rainbow Theory. I'm cognizant, and I trade cognizantly, knowing when I'm in the know and when I'm in unknown. I need to know that I don't know, and I need to admit it. When you're cocky and you think you know exactly what the price is going to be on this date, it's BS. The way the Rainbow Theory stuff works, and a lot of the way these whales work, they know what's possible and they know what's not. And when you get close to the edges of what's possible, like literally possible and backtested, that's when you get your entry and that's when you get your exits. You flip that around, bang, 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 rinse, repeat. And that's what these whales do. They flush the markets. And a lot of stuff right now, up until this point, we've been chopping and going sideways. And you don't know what's next. And a lot of people have been adamantly talking about they know exactly what's going to happen next. They bet their asses on it and they get rinsed. And we got to talk about this because people ping me all the time, and I have a bunch of conversations with a bunch of traders who are way better than me, and we talk and stuff like that. And like, they're asking me directly for my input because they're getting some weird signals, and I've been telling them a lot of stuff. It's like, hey, it seems super volatile right now and people aren't happy, and that's true, but it's we're definitely in some middle areas where there's a lot of noise, and it doesn't feel like that. So I'm going to walk you guys through it. So Anyway, let's move on. So let's start off with what's been leading up into this week. So, Elon Musk is currently going through his libertarian arc. He's gone from the Democratic side to the Republican side, and now he's kind of going into the libertarian side. And he's looked at the numbers, and he's very, very concerned about the debt. And this is one of those things where the debt's going to be a problem. It is a problem, but it's going to be an unsolvable problem at some point. Where that is, I don't know. But there is a wall somewhere where a debt spiral kicks in and you can't recover. And Elon is deathly afraid of it. Doge did some cuts, but they really didn't put a dent in this. and then the budget, this big beautiful bill has come out, and it's implying, like, I don't know, let me just make up some numbers, $6 trillion more in debt, or 2028, whatever. Either way, it's tacking onto this stuff, and it's not cutting it back. And he's super worried and super upset. And apparently this was, I believe, the grounding point which got Elon to actually stand up to Trump and say some things. And it looked like this week we were going to get a peaceful exit, and this was the transition that the White House queued up and Elon queued up. Hey, I'm leaving Doge. I'm leaving the presidential's cabinet. I got stuff to do. I got to go get my butt to Mars. I got to go deal with Tesla. We got to make a Cybertruck, monster truck. We got to bling out the roaster yet. Like all this stuff, I got to go back to being CEO. And I was like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. This guy's really important. He's got some dudes taking care of Doge. Makes a lot of sense. So then this is what they set up, and I could not believe it. They set up a transition meeting with Trump and Elon in the White House. Elon rolls up in all black with a black eye, and it appears to be that he's how do I say this? Very up to date on his ketamine prescription would be the theoretical guess, right? And take a look at this, because this explains, like, he's going in and out of consciousness, like, when this is happening, and I cannot believe this was happening. Watch, he almost did the head roll, and you'll watch the eye movement, and then he takes it with it, he rolls with it. There it goes. So I used to think this was just him being quirky, but they're saying now, like, it's a ton of ketamine, which I don't know anything about, but it's coming to a tipping point. This was not a nice, clean exit, and I don't know what's going on here. I wish him the best. But Elon has started his arc, and he rolled in all black, and the situation has developed. It's apparently he's now upset both the Republican and the Democratic side, and he's really going down the Anakin Skywalker path, in my opinion. He has united the Democrats and the Republicans both into keying Tesla cars, so it's a hell of a thing to watch. And thought it was weird, whatever. I'm not the smartest, richest dude in the world running 8 different companies and government debt, Doge programs. Maybe I need a ton of Adderall, Diet Cokes, and ketamine. I don't know. But it apparently came to a head because Elon has been very vocal about the bill that's going up before Congress. It's already passed the the House, and it's going to the Senate. And apparently it came to a head where Trump this morning they started going back and forth saying, you wouldn't be president if it wasn't for me, and blah, blah, blah. Then Elon drops this and accuses that the Epstein files have not been released because Trump's in them. So burnt bridges everywhere. You can't come back from this. And people are asking me today, are you shocked? I'm not really shocked. I mean, I'm shocked, but I wouldn't have bet on this happening. But I would bet on a fallout eventually. Elon tends to not have friends longer than like 6 to 12 months before he butts head with them or finds their wives attractive. But this is a big deal. And you're going to say, oh man, the Rainbow Trend stuff called top a day or two ago on Tesla. And you know what, guys? You're right. It sure did. But it didn't predict this coming. Holy cow. This is big. And puts like Rush Patel into a really weird spot because I think DJT's in the Epstein flight logs like 7 times, but that's all we kind of know. Man, this tweet is what nuked the markets today. So, long story short, this probably could have been handled better. Could have. It definitely could have been handled better. You got 2 people that absolutely do not give an F. Elon doesn't care, period. Like, he does not care about his reputation or anything. And why should he, right? He's won this world of the video games, right? He's got 20 kids, unlimited money. He's trying to go to Mars with his own rockets. Cool life, right? But Trump, on the other hand, is the leader of the free world and doesn't care either. So, holy cow, they're going at it very publicly. So, this tanked all markets, and now we have to reassess what the hell's going on. Because there's a lot of questions of, is the run over? A lot of stuff was set up for us to be like Bitcoin go time, and it just pulled back. And we're in a really weird spot. So I'm going to cover it. But like I said, quick reminder, we do these streams for free. So if you could click like, subscribe, or drop a comment, like blow up the comments, you would not believe that actually wakes up YouTube algo. But anyway, moving on. So Trump is firing off on all cylinders. Elon is firing off on all batteries. They're mad at each other. Republicans right now don't know if they should buy a V8 or a Tesla anymore. They're having decisions they got to figure out for themselves. But in the sense of this chaos, a shining light has come through and begged for reason, sensibility, making up words here, reason and calmness and love in times. And believe it or not, it's Kanye West has come back and he's begging Elon Musk and Donald Trump, bro, please no. We love you both so much. Please come together. So in a full arc, Kanye has come back, and he's attempting to bring the situation to a head and get these guys back on a friendly basis for the better good of this world. The last time I think I saw something this crazy, it's when Dennis Rodman befriended the Kim Jong-un of North Korea. I still can't explain that. And also, remember, Dennis Rodman is friends with Putin as well from Russia. Maybe we've seen the full villain arc from Kanye. I don't support Kanye, honestly. You guys know me, but like, this is crazy. The guy who's been making no sense for a very long time is now the how the turntables. So yeah. For fuck's sake. Tesla chart, Rainbow Theory Tesla chart. Here we go. I'm sorry for cussing, but like, we're talking about Epstein files, so F it. And I'm not even going to try to fire up Twitch today because I've already had one permaban. I don't need another. But thank you for all the guys on YouTube and on Twitter. Much love. So, Rainbow Theory chart, Rainbow Theory 101. Not 101. This is a lot of stuff here, right? And if I turn off all this stuff, it's not a pretty chart because it's very emotional. But we've been covering this for months. We've been covering it since about here, February. It's now June. Welcome to the show. We finally got a bottom on Rainbow Theory, and the whales started picking up a bottom on Tesla. And what does Tesla do when it massive capitulates? It tends to bounce like a mother. And when you think it's dead, it comes rallying back unbelievably. And lo and behold, it did it. We waited for a very long time. We had a little fake out here with a bottom and a bounce. We got a nice little bounce, but that wasn't what we wanted. We got a full bleed out into these reversion bands. These are the reversion bands here. We full bleed out, yellow and white candles. And like, you guys, if you guys don't know, go check out the Wikipedia. It explains all these colors because I do everything with colors. This stuff's hard to do, right? Whales are not just, they don't run in two colors. They run in a full freaking rainbow. Anyway, this thing went all the way down. We finally got a solid HMA cross. We got a bottom signal from the runner bot, another bottom signal from the runner bot. We have a rainbow rotation from white candles all the way to yellow. The RSI bled out and died off. We smacked support pivots here with this green box. And then we started going sideways and volatility kind of died. And then we finally got up and we got our move, right? I think the last move, if you go look at the old YouTube streams or the clips and stuff like that, I think it was like 100%, 108% was the last time this bad boy rolled. And we were like, hey, we don't know what it's going to be, but typically when this thing does curve, it's going to haul ass. And when it does, you are going to have your opportunity to get some of this action. Now, with all trades, I'm going to be realistic with you. There's not a single person in this world who sold the bottom of that wick and sold the top of that wick. It's impossible. If they're telling you they did it and they're showing you charts where they did it, it's photoshopped. But what you can say is this is 70% move, and I'm going to get a piece of it, right? And I'm telling you this in hindsight where we are right now. But I walked you guys through how this is bottoming out per Rainbow Theory. Things are leveling out and the whales are showing up. And we did a 70% run, knowing that the last time that this set up, it did a 108% run. And some of the other ones were like triple digits, double digits, whatever. But we got our home run. And you could check the receipts on Twitter. We set this up. We said, hey, she's going to go hard, try to get a piece of this. And it did. And it went all the way up. And we got our TP signal. I'm going to put this back onto regular trading hours because I like the volume prints a little better. We got our top signal, and we actually got pink candles in the reversion bands. Rainbow Theory setup, if we're going from a yin to yang on that trade, that is the home run you bet on. You protect your butt in case it doesn't go all the way. You get your stop losses in, but you wish upon a star, and you wish to hit that band. You go band to band, yin to yang, bearish exhaustion to bullish euphoria, and then bam. So we literally posted a TP this morning saying, hey, that's the home run. I'm closing the trade. It very well may keep going, but the home run that I wanted is there. Past this point, I don't have any more signal to say continuation. It's just gambling. And we don't like gambling. We like chasing the whales and using the odds when they're in our favor. And our favor was to get to that other band and then call it a day. And we did, right? What's up, Mally? And then lo and behold, we got this top signal. Now, this is an advanced trading bot that took me like 4 years to develop. I can tell you this. The bot does not predict sentiment inside the White House. A lot of people have accused me of that. I don't know. It doesn't read Twitter. Frankly, that's outside of PineScript's capabilities. Maybe TrainSpider could do that. I don't know. Dan, let me know. But it's very convenient for me to say, hey, you see that? Da-da-da. And I'm going to be real with you. It called a top. It saw the exhaustion. And then all of a sudden, Elon and Trump got into it. And I mean really into it. You don't really come back from those type of comments ever. So what happens now? Oh, boy. From the tippy top, we got a 25% pullback already on this monster. And where is it going to go? I don't know. Speculating here. Just hear me out. I have a feeling this Twitter war keeps going tomorrow and into the weekend. I'm just saying it. I think this might go on. I don't think they're gonna have a hug tomorrow and show back up at the White House and say it's cool you called me an Epstein dude. I'm not thinking that's gonna be a thing. But if you notice, we got a whale print cluster here. Dang it, wrong tool. We got a whale print cluster here. Bam. We actually printed a white candle on the H4. And we went back into this order block. So if you were to, gun to my head, what's it going to do? That's the first area of support. We had a Mally pivot here as well. We wicked and went back too. But the reversion bands, let me pull this off. The reversion bands are sitting right here at 254. And I just don't know. It's violent enough to bet on a V-bounce. It is. But the nature of this fundamental analysis entrines with technical analysis is saying, hey, I bet Elon and Twitter start talking more trash to each other. And this gets worse because you got like the second biggest social media company in the world broadcasting like, yo, this is not good. Evil dude, but what's the bullish outtake? I mean, to be fair, this would be Trump's 5th impeachment if they impeached him over it. And, what's that gonna do? I don't know. They're calling for JD Vance to take over. The dude's got probably 2 or 3 impeachments. He still works in the office, so I don't know. But you're definitely seeing whales at play here. This was $100 billion off the market cap today on Twitter. Tesla. 100 million. Whoo-wee. But I will say this. I am very, very optimistic about tomorrow because if anything, if we touch this bad boy tomorrow, I am very interested in getting long again on Elon. If you look at H1, we actually hit a pink RSI, which is insane. You never see pink RSI levels. And just, if you guys don't know what on earth I'm talking about, but you're liking the vibes, check out the tutorials. And I need to get this going again because I was waiting on some upgrades, and I finally got the upgrades. So you can go back and read through here, like what is Runner talking about with these colors. This is the color key chart. This fully explains rainbow rotations. So if I'm speaking Spanish, that kind of explains it. With that being said, S&P is much moving slower. We've covered this chart a bunch of times, but lo and behold, we were starting to break this local high and print a higher high, and then the beef started. And I will tell you this, quantitative trading bots that control the market have no idea what to do with Trump and Elon yelling at each other online. No one does. This is uncharted territory. If anybody's telling you this looks like the Reagan administration in 1972, they're out their damn mind. S&P's at a really, really critical point here. We really need to get back up to 6150. And if we don't, this is going to get super interesting. I say interesting. We're looking at a turnaround here. Slightly higher high, probably a little bit weaker colors. But if it wasn't for the tariffs scaring the market, leave it up to Elon beef, because I don't know how far this goes out, because you have to realize, like, Elon was behind the Doge department that was going through, like, all of the government stuff. I don't know what treasure trove he's got. I doubt he has the FBI files on Epstein, but he already went pretty nasty within 6 hours. I don't know what tomorrow brings. I really don't. But we'll see. But moving on. That's a lot of drama. But that is the fundamental analysis and the backstory of what Elon and Trump is doing to the worldwide stock markets. Worldwide. This is affecting everything, and you cannot just pigeonhole yourself and Fartcoin doesn't care about Elon and Trump. I'll tell you what Fartcoin does. You know what he cares even more? EOS. So I'm joking, but not really. But since we're talking silly things, right? USDC issuer Circle stock rises 200% to $94 from a $31 IPO price. So the stablecoin issuer Circle pumped 200% today. And I'm gonna break this down to you why this is just the dumbest thing. I had a very long call with a dear friend today. I hope he's listening, because I'm not gonna name him. But you might know who he is. You have to speculate. This is the 1 minute chart, and that's like it doesn't even show the 31, but the IPO price was $31, way down here, boop, and now we're up here. USDC's Circle's base case of a company is they make about $600 million per year in interest on stablecoins. They hand over, like, I don't know the number. You have to go look it up. It's like over 50% of their income goes directly back to Coinbase. Coinbase kind of has these guys by the balls. Even though they don't officially run it, they kind of run it. And whatchamacallit, the financials aren't really here for this multi-billion-dollar company valuation. Maybe the company, maybe it's like Tesla, and it ends up becoming worth like 80 times more than Ford does and sells 1/10 of the cars. Maybe, but this is playing with fire. A company that's making $600 million with this much market cap needs to be heavily studied, and you need to check this out and see where this goes. This may be a hell of a shorting opportunity, but at the same time, we're in crypto mania, and you need to treat this like a meme coin. Fartcoin tends to destroy shorts. So what will Circle do? I don't know, but this is not the Titan that Tether is, for sure. And the valuation's crazy. And if anybody in the chat could look it up, what is the current market cap valuation of Circle? I forgot. It's in the billions. It's absolutely insane. But it's nuts. What's up, Caleb? Josh Olwick's the only one who got that joke. I changed my Twitter handle to a .eos, and only one person's noted, but it was worth the blue checkmark removal to get that verified. But you know what? I'm going to use Grok real quick if you guys don't have the answer. What is the total market cap of Circle that just IPO'd. Oh, also, by the way, the USDC that's on Coinbase, Coinbase gets 100% of the interest on it. So, this company is now it's now worth $17 billion. $17 billion. So shout out Circle. That's gonna be fun. I wish you the best. I like how you guys are audited, but I have my doubts of why you're worth $17 billion making your main thing on interest and you're only making like $600 million per year. And you give a ton of that to Coinbase regardless, and then when those funds are on Coinbase, you get all of it. So be careful. Be careful. Now, moving on. The markets are crazy. We have worldwide tariff wars. We have administrations going after each other. We're going neck and neck. We have Circle, one of the biggest IPOs in history, launching. Where's Coinbase at? Coinbase added to the roadmap today, Fartcoin. So shout out Coinbase. We're keeping relevant. We are keeping on schedule. This train does not stop. Coinbase is listing Fartcoin. So, very big news. We've been waiting for this for a very long time. So shout out Doge Toshi. Let's look at Coinbase chart. All right. So, if you guys know, I don't long candles that are pink and purple, especially when they're in the bands and printing tops. We are having very, very nice yin-yang trades here. It has gone up like 68%, over 70% from this bottom tick. 97%. We would have called it really there, like 50, and that sounds awful, but you gotta remember, this is like TradeFi. 50% moves is huge. This thing's going sideways. So Coinbase is gonna make the revenue from Circle. Keep that in mind. A lot of it, more than half. Don't quote me on that. But they're not doing so hot. This looks like a BART setup. Go look up the BART videos. Rainbow rotation, RSI rotation, top print. We're in the bands. It's likely going to retrace until it finds support. The market's scaring everything off. Let's see what this does. But we are not getting a clear signal to enter here. Regardless, if you remove all the tickers, we only really want to pay attention to the reversion bands and the candle colors. We got lame colors, weak colors in the middle of the bands. We don't diddle in the middle. So moving on, unless you guys have questions. We're about to hit 500 something viewers. This is insane. We got Mally here. We got Nexus, Caleb, Waiku. What's up, dudes? Insider dumping. Mally says, remember Scarface. If you guys don't know about the comments, you can see them on the bottom right, but essentially you guys are not on, you guys are on YouTube where we really get to really see the stuff. So what's up, Vulture? But moving on, what does all this mean? And I figured out I need to move my chat icon a little bit. Let me move that right there. Right there, we'll lock it. There we go. That's a little better. My bad. I was trying to do some movements of the chat, and it did not like it. So, where are we? I'll tell you where. We are not on an easy chart. We're on a Rainbow Theory chart, but this one took a lot of intuition to get here because this is a lot of data. The Crypto Strategic Reserve Executive Order, which I was told was going to be the biggest thing ever, nothing happened. We got the inauguration of the first pro-crypto president. That was pretty much the all-time high for quite a while. But the thing we got was the channel Walker break, and that was the clearest signal we got. It was amazing. Multiple bottom prints here on the runner bot, and then bam, 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 all the way up to our major resistance order block. Rainbow Theory 101. We chase support, we chase resistance, and we have a fun time in between. I don't make up the rules. It's just how it works. You can call me the Rainbow Theory author, but like, this is just studying the whales. So, anyway, something real shitty happened today. We've already covered why, but essentially, we printed a new all-time high. The colors are kind of rotating. HMA cross, all this stuff. And in general, I was like, hey, as long as we keep this order block, I don't really care what happens. It's probably going to retest a bit, before, and then we get our launch pad, and then we go for the all-time high end-of-year rally. we print 200K, we call it a day, and we take some profits. All hell broke loose today, and Bitcoin was not immune to Elon and Trump beefing. Just flat out wasn't. And rightfully so, I guess. All markets kind of retracted for the most part, and we got major selling, and we yanked out of this order block, and I'm very not happy about that because it was holding for a bit. I was waiting for it to walk back up, and we lost it. So, in short, I've had a lot of conversations about this today. We have very little time for the whales, the bull whales, to correct this. If we lose this very, very important order block, we're talking about having to go find support again. And if we're out of this block, support is somewhere down here. Whether, I don't know which, if it's going to just V bottom off a pivot. Like I said, they tomorrow. So what's the counter argument that we just moon and print an all-time high tomorrow? China comes in and announces they have a trade deal with Trump. They're best buds now. Xi and Trump see eye to eye, and then Jerome Powell comes in. He goes, "You know what? This is a great time to rate cut." Bada bing, 200K, right? Beautiful, beautiful prints, right? Huge. But that's likely not going to happen. So in the short period of time, if Friday, we're going into Friday and the weekend too. We need Friday to get back in here at the minimum. And if we don't, I'm going to start saying, hey, this may be a creek. We need to start coming back down and finding support somewhere. And I want to find support sooner than later, because the more times we hit this resistant order block and we don't break through the damn thing, it's not bullish. So we got to keep that in mind and keep things trucking. But if you guys have any questions, hit me up in the chat. We still have a Coinbase premium, and I'm probably going to get around to releasing this tool. It's just you guys have no idea how hard it is to release tools. But I want to get this out there eventually. But that's Coinbase is still showing a premium over USD or over USDT, over the Binance pair, and I'm paying attention to that. So why is Runner focusing so much on TradeFi and Bitcoin and the majors? Well, the majors are what matter right now, and this couldn't be summed up any better. Macro CRT, altcoins all the time for no reason at all. And this has been the sentiment for the past 12 months. Every altcoin rotation we get, short of like hype, has lasted like 3 to 4 weeks, and then it just dives. And even this week, we saw Fartcoin just completely plummet out of nowhere. And I don't think there was a reason. And it plummeted before the whole Twitter drama with Trump. So it's crazy. And I say Fartcoin. Let's check on Dipwheeler. Dipwheeler saying breaking. Bank of America sees Fartcoin as... he's right. He's right. I love Dipwheeler. He's freaking hilarious. I just realized I'm not following him. Click. And let's look at the Fartcoin chart. So the reversion learning bands, the machine learning reversion bands, we've been seeing consistent candle rotations into this band where it tops out. And now we're looking for a bottom where we're getting the opposite here. We're getting a lot of signals this thing's topping out or bottoming out, but you have to realize meme coins don't typically have longevity. Cycle to cycle, let alone month to month, year to year. Whew. We'll see. This is a huge impulse, right? Huge impulse. Big impulse on buying. Love it. Fartcoin is getting listed on Coinbase. Great liquidity. We love having liquidity on Fartcoin. In all seriousness, I think the cycle this year and I think the Bitcoin cycle for this run, I think a lot of it's going to be more on Bitcoin and not anything related to alts. And I think that's going to screw a lot of people over because everyone wants to talk about altcoins and meme coins. They don't want to talk about anything about Bitcoin. And every single person I talk to that's shilling alt charts, they're all believing that Bitcoin goes higher, but they want to play with these things. And just like this chart or this picture, these altcoins are randomly yanking back like 40%, 50%. These are gnarly pullbacks. Fartcoin so far has pulled back 47%. I wasn't lying to you. That's a big move. Even these previous moves. Now, if you are a hotshot trader, you live at your trade desk, you know how to manage this stuff, the volatility is here. It's not in Bitcoin right now. The Bitcoin volatility is not there, but You're talking about, 26, 40. These are big moves, but if you're buying and then it yanks 40, that sucks, and that's a big L. And most people don't have the instincts to manage that mentally. So be very careful. But if we're talking meme coins, let's check on Murad. So Murad's on a TikTok spree, and he's really pushing SPX 6900. I think in this video he's talking about the S&P 6900 meme coin flipping the market cap of the actual S&P 500. You could do it on paper. I don't think this is really where it's going, but shout out Murad. I like Murad, but the dude lives that life and he's all about it. And to be frankly, his hair is fantastic. I thought Dime had the best hair on Twitter, or Dylan LeClaire. I think Murad has eclipsed them. So sorry, not sorry, Dime. But let's look at the S&P 6900. Volatility. Now, you can ride these bands. You want to be real dumb? Like, look for pinks, look for whites, look for these rainbow rotations. Frankly, the runner bot here is hitting them pretty hard. Your top signal, your bottom signal, your top signal, your top, your bottom, da-da-da. Stuff's hard. But on the backside, you never know when, you're going to have a month of this. And people marry their bags, and that's an 85% pullback. But look at the rally. But you have that's 170% rally on a 90% drawdown. Welcome to crazy math where shorting is harder than longing. But look at how many white candles this was. Boom, 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 before it finally bottomed out with those well prints, and then they sent it, right? You got to be really careful here. You can get baited. Now, if Bitcoin or Ethereum hits white candles in here, dude, runner bets the house. I've done it a few times now in my life. I empty my cash for spot Bitcoin when I see those signals. Meme coins can hit these walls and keep on trucking. There's hacks, there's volatility. They're flat out they're backed by being a joke. You got to be careful. Very, very careful. I definitely don't recommend DCAing into meme coins or anything that's only on offered on a DEX. So anyway, moving on. Whew. Thanks again, blowing it, everyone active in the chat on YouTube, all the dudes on Twitter. If you click like and retweet, be much appreciated. And like I said, if you guys have any questions on what the hell I'm talking about, check us out at Rainbow Trends, or hit up the best Discord in the universe. We got a bunch of OGs who non-stop talk trading and Toyotas. So Popcat, my beloved meme coin, it's doing the same thing. Are we going to get that rally? We're bouncing whites. We're getting rainbow reversions. We're getting bottom signals. We got to be careful. Maybe we do. I don't know. I hope it does. I like Popcat. But moving on. Retweet. Yes, Fletch. Please retweet the stream. It helps out a lot. We're about to hit 500 freaking viewers. It's crazy. All right, so we covered that one. And moving on. So if you guys don't know, and I don't think I pulled up the tweet. Yeah, I did. So I should flip these around. So after the Epstein accusal, we're in a top Aussie. What's up, Aussie? We love Aussie, but we're coming for your 1.8. Aussie. So Trump basically says, all right, Elon, you know what's a good way to help the budget? How about we quit subsidizing SpaceX and Tesla and we pull all the government contracts? How about that? How about them apples? Bro. So what does Elon do? All right. In light of the president's statement about cancellation of my government contract, SpaceX will begin decommissioning its Space Dragon spacecraft immediately. And a lot of people were pointing this out. Oh my God, this is petty Twitter drama. They're acting like children. If you guys don't know, the Dragon spacecraft is the only United States spacecraft capable of attaching and returning from the world's International Space Station. And then we got awesome memes about it. So astronauts finding out that Boeing is going to be getting the space flight contracts. So yeah. He's basically saying, you want to pull my contracts? All right, I will dismantle the rocket and you guys won't have access to it anymore. I will call your bluff, and good luck getting your astronauts down from the International Space Station or launching any type of satellite, right? And a lot of people are like, wow, I can't believe this is happening. Da-da-da-da-da. We've never seen this before. We have seen this before. In a different turn of events. What's up, Crypto Bull? What's up, Caleb? If you guys didn't know, Sergei Krikalev was an astronaut during the time of the Soviet Union. This dude was up in space when the Soviet Union dismantled. He was stuck in space for 311 days before the countries and international world could figure out a way to get him down. It's kind of happened. The government rockets that used to run him up got dismantled because the government disappeared. So this guy got stuck up there. Oh man. So shout out Sergey, because man, I mean, honestly, like the dudes up at the space station are reading this going, oh shit. And I find it funny. I'm glad that Jesse on YouTube finds it funny too. So what's Boeing doing? Because Boeing's got to be picking up the slack, right? Maybe the 747s aren't hot, but we'll see. Long story short, we don't long areas like this. I'm just kind of looking at this as a joke, but when I mention a company, I typically look at the chart just to see if there's correlation. But I'm not bullish Boeing for a lot of reasons, mainly because stuff keeps falling off the planes. But let's take a look at another aeronautical chart. GE is the gift that keeps on freaking giving. I have no idea why on earth GE is channel walking out of this, but I think I'm over 100% in profit now on spot. It has been doing kind of an accumulation cylinder, and now it's fully sending. And I will tell you right now, full disclosure, this is not financial advice, but I'm watching this channel walker, and if this thing breaks free to the right, I'm TPing, and it's looking like it is now. Something's going on with my charts here. I had a long-term. Yeah, I'm on log. I had a long-term channel walker that I've been monitoring, and then everything went skewed. And when I logged in today, it was looking like this, and I don't know why, because it wasn't doing that this morning. But I'm monitoring this for a channel walk. The instant this bad boy shifts, I'm cutting at the trade, and it's probably going to be one of my most successful stock market trades ever. And the backstory behind it, yeah, my cost basis is 143, and it's at 253 right now. They did a weird stock split on this thing. They split the company up, and they had to readjust the charts because they divided the company into like an aerospace division and all these other divisions. And for some reason, when they split it, price went and hit this damn band. And I longed the living hell out of this, saying, I don't care, ride or die. It did it in a single candle. I'm going to block this. Well, then when they readjusted the charts, this dive bomb disappeared, and price was like right here. And then price just continued to go up, and it started printing this pattern. And so far, it's been doing a damn accumulation cylinder. And the H4s in particular have been really good. I've got a lot of stuff here, so let me just chill this out for a second. The top signals have been really good on this. And now it's channel walking out, and I've got to see what this thing's going to do, because I've been watching this, and I'm like, man, it's just printing blue candles in a channel walker almost into that reversion band. It should be fading, and it hasn't yet. So the instant this thing starts to fade, and when I say fade in Rainbow Theory, I'm talking about going sideways out of a channel walk. As soon as I see that, I'm cutting it. And I'm just going to I'll look for a re-entry, but I want to see something. So as long as this thing just keeps grinding, it can keep going. It just got to avoid touching that band. Otherwise, it's going to force a sell-off. The whales will sell off, and so will I. So anyway. Cardenas, YouTube. Hola, how are you guys doing? Very well. Muy bien. I really wish I didn't lose my Spanish back in the day. I used to live in Mexico. I say lived. I lived in Mexico for a few months, and I picked up some Spanish, and I used to be pretty good at it. My wife used to be fluent. She's not anymore. So anyway, moving on. GE, Tesla, world events. We've covered some crypto. Moving on. Let's take a minute to have a sentiment check and let us see what Mr. Josh Olwicks is doing. If you guys don't know, this is Carpe Noctem himself. Very, very debonair guy. One of the greatest OGs in crypto ever. He got me into indicators and made me understand what whales were. Without this dude, you would never see Rainbow Theory. So, because literally I didn't understand what the hell he was saying about whales, and I just listened to his YouTubes until I could understand what he was saying, and then it all went downhill from there in a very good way. So what is Josh's sentiment? Because I look at Josh's sentiment for macro tops and macro bottoms as well as the vibes. Josh's sentiment right now is this. He's on board with the capitulation that we're witnessing on the S&P 500, crypto markets, etc. If you really want to interpret what this is, because I can read Josh, I can read an OG that I trust, I can read the vibes, but if you really want to see it, check him out when he's looking at high time frame Bitcoin or Ethereum Ichimoku charts. This is where Carpe Noctem is the best at what he does. There is no other cloud trader I'm aware of that I would trust more. But he's telling you, you best start believing in bearish reversal chart patterns, Anon. You're in one. And he's right. And it goes into my sentiment. We don't always see eye to eye. Frankly, a lot of times we don't. But I definitely do pay attention to this dude. And we have an OG interview from him way back in the day. Definitely go watch it. It's great. I was very humbled to have him on. But pay attention here, because this goes along the same signs as me. Rainbow Theory is saying, like, you got a very, very small window for bulls to recover this and get back up into the resistance order block and try to save this thing. But if you don't, man, we're looking lower for support, and he's looking lower on these Ichimokus, and he's frankly looking at support levels that scare the shit out of me. So I don't want to do that. But moving on, how's our new crypto Twitter resident whale doing? How is he? How is he doing? I don't know what the F is going on with this account. James Wynn Real, thank you for clarifying it's real. This is the dude who posted the $1 billion Bitcoin long on Hype. And it's only gotten weird, and he's been asking for USDC donations, and the account's going wild. And while I do trade and study the living hell out of whales, something is up with this. I don't know what it is. I suspect it's money laundering. I don't know. I can't explain it. But I will teach you this. You can mute people, and you don't have to listen to this. I added the word win to my muted word list, so I definitely don't see as much about this because I do not care. Anybody who's posting $1 billion longs or shorts, the general population will come and get you. When I say general population, I'm referring to the big whales. You think this is a big dude? The real whales do not want to be seen. The real whales are not on Twitter posting about Lambos and chart positions in P&L. They are dead quiet, and they're trying to kill off every other whale in existence. They want that liquidity. The dudes who are vocal are the ones that become the main characters, and they get hunted. Keep that in mind. This type of stuff is not good, and definitely don't like, oh man, he's long, I gotta get long. Don't look at this. He is liquidity for all intents and purposes. Every time you think there's a big fish, there is a bigger freaking fish. Remember that. So with that being said, let's move on to Ethereum, because that makes sense. Ethereum, guys, is showing more relative strength than Bitcoin through this time period. It's very weird. It normally does not do that. It has not done that in years. It's doing it now, and even today on the pullback it is. With that being said, the textbook Bart Simpson, Rainbow Theory 101, it's trying to do the hairline down. It's trying. And frankly, I'm shocked that it hasn't yet. I'm very shocked. So, I don't know. Gun to my head, if you blindfold me, you don't tell me what this is, you don't tell me what time frame this is, you don't tell me what the prices are, you just show me the candles, you show me the Rainbow Theory signals, right? You show me that. I'm going to tell you that's a Bart Simpson trade. It's likely going to retrace and do a full hairline retracement. When I say hairline, I'm talking about this big impulse here. When I say big impulse, I'm talking about the split volume tool on Rainbow Trends. That big bad boy of cyan candles on the volume is a fudge ton of whales. And, man, PineScript, get your ratios on your drawings right. Because when you do this, it's like it's a layer ahead of it in 2D or 4D. So sorry for all the people that have motion sickness and I just made you sick to your stomach. But it's a Bart Simpson. It's hairline, hair top, hair down, right? It's looking like this. In reality, most of the time, the backside doesn't come straight down. It kind of bleeds, especially on the larger cap, and that's just when the whales exit. If you go back to Rainbow Theory 101, why do whales do this? They rip it up, they liquidate the bears, they bait the bulls into longing the hairline, and then they rip it down and they liquidate the bulls. This flushes both sides of the book. The bigger fish always prevail. For every winner, there's a loser. Keep that in mind. So, man, it hasn't done it yet, but man, is it really forming some colors here that look like it wants to go down. And I am praying, Vitalik, please stay away from the karaoke mic. Please don't dance on stage. Let's talk technicals. Let's talk bullish, crazy stuff, crazy good stuff you can do with the Ethereum Foundation other than selling Ethereum. I know that's the utility you think is cool and what you focus on, but dude, think of what your dad would do. Think of the swole Vitalik. If you guys don't know, you guys make fun of like vegetarian Vitalik. Do not fade the bloodline. Do not fade. The dad is ripped. Let me find the picture. This is actually Vitalik Buterin's dad. Based as fuck. Badass dude. Shredded, tattoos, and then he gave birth to one of the smartest kids in the world, right? That made the second biggest crypto foundation thing. Found crypto coins in the world. So I'm going to bet on the bloodline still. I hope part of his DNA is still in Vitalik. We can quit the singing. We can drop the vegetarianism. We can get the F Foundation back on their feet. Maybe Gainsey actually bottomed Ethereum. I want to see this go. But Rainbow Theory 101, what's my heart say versus what my brain says? That's a major resistance order block we failed to get through. The colors rotated, the RSI rotated. The top signals fired, the HMA cross. Every single thing is telling me this is a top, but we're breaking out of this channel walker that we've been talking about for like 6 months. And it's showing resistance when Bitcoin's showing weakness, which is very different. And I want to see this reclaim. If this reclaims, it's going to $4,000. From there, I don't know. We're going to be back into an area where things are unclear. But if I break this, I'm very, very likely to go from 2,900 to 4,000, and that's a fun ride. Why is that a fun ride? And as much as you guys hate Ethereum, if Ethereum does this, everything goes. Bitcoin goes, Litecoin goes, EOS will look amazing, S&P 6,900, you name it. If Ethereum rips, all of it goes. It will drag Bitcoin up with it. And right now we're seeing that rotation kind of start. It's showing resistance that Bitcoin doesn't, and that's super, super not natural. All right, moving on. Since we're talking Vitalik, right? We're talking dads. We're talking Russian bloodlines. Let's talk about the war in Russia. If you guys don't know, I'm going to backtrack some stuff for you and explain some stuff here because this actually popped up on Discord and people didn't understand some of the stuff that's actually going. But like I said, we'll do a quick little breather here. If you guys are new, you guys don't know what's going on or why I'm rambling about whales, check us out at rainbowtheory.com. You can check out all our tools, all our stuff here, and you can definitely join our Discord. There's no paywalls in the Discord. That's where the OGs sharpen their tools and talk alpha all year long. So definitely go check them out, give them some love. But moving on back to the war, because this is another thing, macro-wise. We're talking tariffs. We hit 500 on the freaking live. This is amazing. We are talking tariffs. We're talking Tesla Elon battle or Elon Trump battle. We're talking all these different things. We're talking FOMC rate cuts. The other big one that I'm very, 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 very keen on is the Russia-Ukraine war. And why is that? I hate people getting buried. I hate it. But get my heart aside and you go back to my brain, emotion free. If this war ends, we get bullish recovery, right? There's no way around it. Or war's ending 9 times out of 10, it's bullish, right? And so I'm going to root for this, that we quit burying our young on both sides. I don't care if they're Russian or Ukrainian, dude. They look like brothers, and they're burying each other. Like there's probably over 200,000 soldiers in their 20s that are under the ground right now. I hate it. But with that being said, Ukraine took out, I say this, allegedly, and they've got a bunch of evidence. Allegedly, they took out 33%, 31% of the bombing air force in Russia, and they did it deep inside the interior. And they did it with drones. And I want to walk you guys through some stuff, and we're going to tie this back into charts, believe it or not, because 9 times out of 10, if you think I'm going crazy on Twitter and I'm looking at something weird, I normally can tie it back to a chart. Otherwise, I'll tell you, I just think it's entertaining. Oftentimes, the dog videos, I can't really relate those back, but I could, now in hindsight, I could probably look at Petco charts. But check this out, because they dropped the videos. If you guys don't know what this is, these are big long-range bombers from Russia. Russia doesn't manufacture these anymore. What's that mean? These nuclear bombing airplanes aren't in production anymore, so Russia has a finite level of them that they plan to maintain until forever, right? Well, when you blow one of these up, they don't have the parts to make a new one or the manufacturing facilities to repair these damn things. And check this out. And shout out Russia. I don't know why you're lining the wings with tires, but cool. But this is a live video of a drone hitting the damn things and blowing these things up over and over. It's freaking crazy. These guys are particularly taking a drone, and they're taking it really close to where the fuel cyclages are on these airplanes and detonating. So they're pinpricking where they want to blow up. And you see the other ones they've already blown up. They're going to the next one. Boom, blowing it up. For all intents and purposes, this was crazy. 30% of the bombing force on multiple airports in Russia, not near the front lines at all. Originally, Russia had these way far from the front lines, thinking these things were protected. And it's really interesting what's going to happen next. But I wanted to show you this because this is a big deal, because this is, long story short, this is pressure on Putin to come to the table. So far, he's not been wanting to come to the table and do negotiation at all. That's a MiG-20. No, don't blow the MiG-25. I like the 25s. Sorry, Doc. But yeah, let's not dwell on this too long, but you get the point. In case you missed it and you've been following the Trump drama, the Ukraine bombed the hell out of the long-range bombing fleet on Russia and did a lot of damage way deep in the interior. Putin is obviously pissed and has basically said negotiations are off. This was a terroristic act. Who negotiates with terrorists? So this may have, I can't tell you. Is this going to prolong negotiations? I don't know. But before this, Putin was not wanting to negotiate. So if they don't want to negotiate, they don't want to talk about peace, Zelensky is increasing the pressure and doing long-range damage inside of Russia, which is concerning. And you're going to ask yourself, how the hell, and I apologize if you guys know the backstory, but I'm going to go into it because it's interesting. How the hell did they hit Air Force bases 1,000 miles into Russia's interior with drones? I'll tell you how. They made multiple Connex containers. In the roofs of the Connex containers, they hid multiple drones. What these drones are basically, imagine strapping a hand grenade beneath a drone. They then snuck these Connex containers into the interior of Russia, and then they hired via commercial freight applications to say, hey, I have a container here. I need it moved to this area. The area may or may not be within a quarter mile of an Air Force base, but I just need it dropped off here. Chill. So when you walk inside these Connex boxes, you don't see any of this. It's hidden only a foot deep inside the roof. And if you can't tell, these things are 8 or 10 feet tall. 10 feet tall. So all of these Connex boxes got delivered across Russia near these Air Force bases, and then these innocent truck drivers were just sitting there, and all of a sudden the roofs open up and drones start flying off, and then they start bombing Air Force bases. It's crazy. And this all happens to happen right after Lindsey Graham visits Ukraine, so keep that in mind. But you're also going to ask yourself, runner, how in the hell do they not have radar jammers at Air Force bases? Let me key you in on this. They do have radar jammers. One of the first things that happened in this Ukraine war was they started jamming radar so drones couldn't approach tanks and blow up tanks, because originally these cheap drones were just destroying all the Russian tanks left and right. Well, times have evolved. And if you guys don't know what this is a spool of about 5 miles of fiber optic line. So all communications, they are sending data signals down the fiber optic line. This stream right now is through a fiber optic line that gives me over a gigabyte per second, right? They do all their communications through the fiber optic line. You can shoot as much jammers as you want at this. It will run its signal through the bottom of this line, and it can go up to 5 miles. running off fiber optics. This is a warhead up top. These are little cameras and telemetry sensors and all that. And this bad boy runs across the field. And you're like, bullshit. They don't do it. This is crazy. It's not really happening. Yeah. Ukraine has improvised and figured out how to change the tides of war. It doesn't matter how many tanks you have. It doesn't matter how many submarines you have. It's coming down into a drone warfare. Frankly, I wouldn't have believed this 5 years ago, but essentially IEDs now fly. And this is a 3D printed drone that's dropping multiple bombs out of it, showing you. This stuff's crazy. You're talking about a device that costs less than $2,000 that can take out tanks and Air Force bombers, like nuclear bombers. It's insane. MiG-29s, MiG-25s, Su-31s have been destroyed by 3D printed DJI drones or homemade drones, right? And you're like, you want to call bullshit? That's literally like taking out tanks, which is crazy because you think of tanks as being like the coolest thing in the world. And if you also say I'm crazy about the fiber optics because this stuff sounds crazy, I would not have understood this video 5 years ago. I would not have, but I understand it now. And let me crank the resolution up because that's ridiculous. This is a guy walking across a battlefield in Ukraine, and the fiber optic lines from all the drones that have been run over it are getting caught in his legs. Those are the spent fiber optic lines from the drones. Thousands of drones, fiber optic lines. Isn't that crazy? So you're asking yourself, how do you tie this into a chart runner? I'm bullish on war ending, but the other thing you have to realize is war is evolving. Tanks used to be unbelievably game-changing in the battlefield. Now they're not really. And you're seeing drones become the massive benefits of war. And you're seeing Palantir send it. This thing's already done an insane run. Shout out Dan Ushman for being a big guy on this one, but that's a 500% run on a big company that focuses on AI and like drone remote detonation technology, right? They have these crazy drones and stuff like this used for warfare. So where does this go? I don't know. I really don't know. But we're going to follow the charts. I think the next big thing is going to be drone defense technology that takes out drones that are run by fiber optics. What does that look like? I'd imagine it looks like laser welding systems that can sit there and track drones, like those little mosquito things that Bill Gates developed where the little laser would shoot the wings off the mosquitoes. I think they're going to weaponize that to a level where they have large lasers that can shoot down drones. Right now, they are using like Saiga 12 shotguns, which if you guys don't know what that is, way back in the day, I say way back in the day, probably like 10, 15 years ago, Izhmash, which is the developer of the current AK firearms in Russia, along with Molot, they took the AK-47 platform and converted it into a shotgun. So there are actually tank crews that carry Saiga 12 shotguns that hold 10 rounds, 20-round drums, and they just sit there and blast at drones that are airborne because they're really hard to touch. So you want to talk about a ridiculous firearm, you take the most successful assault rifle in all history, then you convert it to a shotgun. It's insane. But moving on. But yeah, we're talking crazy things. We're talking charts. We're talking navigation. It's hard to navigate charts like that. And bam. Shout out Blake. He set that up. I always thought it was cool. Anyway, another thing. So back to crypto. You guys may have forgotten about this. This was only like 3 days ago. 3 days ago, maybe. Apparently, a Trump wallet was getting released. And I saw this. This looks very legit. Why would someone do this? And the first thing I look to, what do my eyes draw to? Okay, cool. Trump definitely makes sense. That's a solid choice for a Trump wallet. Obviously going with Trump. Mulaney's not number 2. I was surprised. Bitcoin's number 2. Solana's number 3. That makes sense. That's got a Baron vibe. Then I scroll down here and I'm like, what is that last one? ME. What the hell is ME? Well, it's Magic Eden. And apparently we thought this was real. The market responded, and the market was, hey, why is ME listed? Trump must be bullish Magic Eden. Well, we instantly got I say instantly, about 15 minutes later after this, people realized there's a Magic Eden listed on here. But bam, Emmy pumped like crazy. And you know me, I like spot trading. What's up, Mem? I don't like shorting, but I know my OGs. I trust my Cyan dudes in the Discord, and I know a particular trader in the Rainbow Trends Discord who hunts pink candles on shitcoins. And I woke him up. I said, hey, Pixa, go do Pixa things. And yes, Pixa locked in. And then shortly after Pixa locked in, Eric Trump comes in and says, I personally run Trump, and I know nothing about this project. World Liberty Fi doesn't know about it. Trump doesn't know about it. You need to be very, very careful about using our names in crypto and stuff like this. So it's apparently it was not real. Yeah, that's me checking in on Pixa. So thanking me for the tag because apparently he attacked the trade. And what happened? Long story short, we got a magical blowout. And normally you can't catch these impulses. Normally the moves already happen. This is a low time frame BART that played out with Rainbow Theory 101. Bam. BART hairline. And then remember how I said it normally doesn't go down perfectly. It kind of bleeds. That's what a bleed looks like, right? Go check out all my BART tutorials. We're one of the only dudes who can trade it with tools. Discount Gosling's one of the only other guys I know that can do it. But he's just freaking phenomenal. But big volume impulse. They sell into this and then they just let it bleed. And everybody who late longed this capitulated and kind of died off. So yeah, that's how that played out. And what, long story short, I'm like, I saw this and I was like, hey, Pixa, go do Pixa things. And I'm like, what I'm telling Pixa in the Discord is like, hey, go do your short stuff. Do what you're really good at. And lo and behold, it pulled back. Very predictable. We'll just do like the middle of the hairline, not the peaks, but the middle. It pulled back 20% like in a day or two, right? So you could do a lot of damage with that. Especially like you lock in and then Eric Trump comes out and says, nah, that's a fake news. Bruh, lock in. I can't wait for the P&Ls. But anyway, moving on to the very end of the stream. We are now an hour and 15 minutes. Like I said, if you guys are new here, check us out, rainbowtrends.com. You can sign up today for $10. Our Discord community is at the top. And as with every weekly stream, every Thursday, we go hang out with the OGs after the stream. You get to see manifesto charts. You get to see stacks sometimes. We get to talk to all these dudes. And we go hang out in the Discord, and then we post up and talk alpha. We do video screen shares. And it's not just me streaming anymore. It's other people streaming their charts. So much love to all you guys. Thank you for coming out. This was a crazy stream. I think we hit over 550 viewers. Much love to you all. And I'm going to go hit up the Discord. So if you're not a member of the Discord, as always, the links are kind of hard to find. I always have the link at the top of the banner. So click that, join it, no paywalls, come say hi. And those are the dudes that grinded through these bear markets and survived them and made each other deadlier and even taught me stuff. So definitely go show those guys some love. But anyway, I will talk to you guys later. I will see you maybe next week. I'm going on vacation to Florida pretty soon, and I will be posting a lot more fishing content. So anyway, I will talk to you guys later. See ya.